Dude, thanks for jumping on and taking some time.
Yeah, not a problem.
Um, we'll just kind of jump right into it. Like I said, this is gonna be fairly casual. I've got some like fun questions to ask you, whatever, and then at the end of the episode, I'm gonna give you a chance to just showcase kind of what your products are that you've got coming out and all that cool stuff. And before that, we'll just talk some fun hunting and get into some cool stories you got and whatnot. But that sound good to you?
No, sounds great.
Cool,
So
man.
ask away. I will try not to talk too much. So
No, dude, this is your hall pass, man. This is where you get to talk all you want. So yeah, you can go for it. So to start, tell us, I guess, where you're at and what species you hunt and whatnot in that area.
so I'm up in Northwest Montana. I was born in Canada and grew up like right on the border here. So like right now we live 7 miles from the Canadian border. We'll hunt all of your big game species. I primarily stick to deer, elk. Just started hunting antelope this last year. Just started hunting out of state this last year. I grew up doing like backpack style pack camp, like horses in for 10, 12 days at a time, chasing bighorn sheep, goats, high country mule deer. And honestly, kind of got burnt out on that by the time I turned 16, 17 years old.
It's hard. That's a lot, man. It's hard
It
work.
is. It is a ton of work. And it just like, as a kid, it's not really fun. So you want to go and you want to have fun. But when you're having like full-blown rodeos on the side of the mountain with horses and getting told stuff like, yeah, just jump off uphill because there's 1,000-foot cliffs below us on this section. And like, I don't know, just it's a lot of stuff that I'm really glad I was exposed to it at a young age. But at the same time, too much of a good thing could be a bad thing.
Yeah, no, that's intense. I mean, as a kid, yeah, as an adult, I mean, it's intense being on a horse on a ledge, let alone as a kid. So yeah, there's probably not much you're scared of at this point.
I don't know, grizzly bears, pretty scared of grizzly bears.
Fair. That's fair.
There's more and more of them every year in the forest, it seems like. But yeah, I won't even talk about those right now.
Yeah, I do want to get into it for sure.
Kind of grew up in this general area within like a 60-mile zone here. My dad moved us to Idaho for a portion of my junior high life, at which point we did a little bit of hunting down there, but not too much when we were down there around Boise area. And then we moved back to Montana when I was in 7th grade, and then I have always called this place home. I've gone and done my own thing in a couple different locations. I worked in the oil field in Wyoming, northern Alberta, and then I got into bartending and a handful of other different things. But I seem to be like a little kid, and I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. But
welcome to the club. I think we're all in that, whether we admit it or not. I think we're all in that boat.
Yeah, no, I think it's good to an extent, and then it hinders you in other times. But no, so yeah, I call Northwest Montana home and hunt anything I can get a tag for. So
oh, that's awesome. I mean, hunting wise, you've had a pretty awesome, I don't know what you call it, I guess, track record of like where you live, like hunting opportunities. I mean, that's
extremely
awesome.
Blessed. So very, very blessed. And it's like growing up in Montana and getting to experience and have a resident tag system that is as good as Montana's is. It's like, I can have 5 tags in my pocket for $85 basically.
Oh my gosh.
Every year. And it's like, I think it's a little more than that now. I don't know exactly. I don't even care because it's like, it's cheaper than even trying to buy a bird license in any other state sort of a
Seriously.
thing. But not to encourage people to move to Montana. Please don't.
Yeah, stay away.
No, not necessarily. It's just it seems like everywhere there's a reputation of non-resident hunters, and everybody kind of hates seeing out-of-state plates. And I got to a point where I was like, you know what? Instead of hating on everybody, let's just be part of the hate sort of thing. It's like I can drive to another state just as easy as these guys can come to my state.
Yeah,
So
it's so
just
true.
like,
Yeah,
it's, I don't know.
if you can't beat them, join them, right?
well, and not even that aspect. It was just like you can spend your time hating on it, or you can just take part of like the bountiful blessings that there are out there on the landscape. So it's like anybody can apply for tags, anybody can do any of those things. It's like to hold like a regards as like this is ours sort of a thing. It's like I don't know, it just doesn't sit well with me. So I
Yeah.
started hunting out of state and joined them.
No, it's actually,
Yeah.
I've never thought of it that way, but I really like that. It's like we all just live in these states. It's not like I own Utah. It's not like you own Montana. And so it's just funny how we get all prideful, like stay away. But it's like they paid buku bucks to get their non-resident tag. So it's like, let them hunt.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I had a scenario this year where I actually shot a buck and shot high, but like blew one of his antlers off. And
I saw your video on Instagram.
yeah,
actually.
so it's like terrible shot placement. Shouldn't have, like, terrible circumstances for the deer. But then two out of state guys, their first time ever hunting in Montana, that buck ran up over a ridge line and they put a bullet in him 4 minutes after I shot, sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Never once would I talk to a Montana resident that would be like super game on taking a one-horned buck.
They were,
But these
though, huh?
two guys from Michigan were like so freaking stoked about it. Like they didn't even care. Like that wasn't even a thought process. They saw the buck come over the hill. The one buddy was like, "Oh, it's only got an antler," as the other dude was like pulling the trigger, sort of a thing. He's like, "I didn't even care." He's like, "That was the biggest deer we've seen the whole entire time." And so it's like to see that respect to the animals, or like not care about the trophy, or like they're there for the experience. And like those experiences have helped and benefited me a lot in my lifetime. So to say that I shouldn't be okay with other people experiencing that, like I don't have any right to do that or have those feelings. So
yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, I feel like it's probably kind of rare, honestly, still in the hunting world. I feel like a lot of people are still like, oh, we don't want people coming in, whatever. But I'm similar to you. We actually, my family and I, we just started hunting, or started to apply for out of state hunts, because we've always just hunted in Utah. And,
oh yeah.
And I'm like, why aren't we just going out? Like, who cares if we don't know exactly where to go? Like, it's all part of the experience. Like, we're just going to see new country, you know? Like, if we get something, that's a bonus, but at least you're out there, you know?
Well, I find myself doing that lots too. It's like I don't necessarily hunt for the animals or whatever. We try to hunt new zones, new districts, new areas just about every year. And it's like if I wanted to go kill stuff, there's areas that you could go based off of experiences and knowing where animals travel and everything else. It's like, and when it comes time during the hunting season in the last week or so, you go to those locations.
Yeah.
But it's like the season's X amount of days long, and I'm not chasing the animals, I'm chasing the country that they live in. So
That's so cool.
I'd rather see 0 animals than hike 20 some odd miles and see some absolutely gorgeous country that I never would have stepped foot in, or potentially nobody's been there for who knows how long, and do that versus go to the locations and sit on the saddle that the elk always move through, or go to the winter range or whatever. It's like I'm not out there necessarily to kill. That is a huge blessing when you fill the freezer, but like I think everybody wants to do just that, what you said. They're trying to chase the experience, chase the adventure, go see the new location, go do the new thing. So even if it's not necessarily in a new place, it might be in a a drainage over because you hunt the state line sort of a thing, and you've never been able to walk over there and always wondered what was over there sort of a thing. So
No, for sure.
it
For
allows
sure.
you to fill that wonder. So
No, it's so true. This year we just hunted a different unit, just still here in Utah, but it was a different unit. It was like we had a blast just seeing new country and just trying to kind of, I feel like, navigate new country. It's like a new challenge, whatever. And that's a question I actually have for you, where you've lived in a few different states. I'm assuming, have you hunted, is there a species that you've hunted in all three of those states, like mule deer or elk, or maybe there's multiple?
like I said, I got burnt out with hunting when I was like 16, 17 years old. I actually went to Utah to play baseball at Utah Valley University.
Oh, cool.
And didn't know what I was doing there, dropped out after the first semester and was like, well, I don't know what I'm going to college for, sort of a thing. And I didn't hunt in Utah. It wasn't until I was like probably 27, 28 years old that I was like, I'm such an idiot. Like, because I lived in Utah long enough to get residency, never hunted in Utah,
wow.
never even thought about hunting while I was down there going to school. After that, I went to work in the oil field in northern Alberta, and like I already have dual citizenship. And so like as soon as I get an Alberta driver's license, boom, I'm a resident. Like I can hunt caribou, I can hunt Dall sheep, I can hunt like all these things. Never hunted in northern Alberta.
Oh my gosh.
Then I went to Wyoming to work in the oil field down there, and same exact thing, was just like consumed with work and literally never even thought about hunting. Lived in Buffalo, like right on the Bighorn Mountains there, and some of the greatest elk country, shed hunting country in the US basically. And never once never went. Seen lots of dead animals. It was actually crazy during hunting season in Wyoming. All of the taxidermists and butcher shops and stuff like roll into towns and set up like mobile shops, and there'll be 300 deer hanging in a hotel parking lot.
Whoa.
All on wax, and like, yeah, they're all butchering them and stuff. There was some of the wildest stuff I've ever seen in Wyoming.
That's a whole vibe. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, well, their seasons are so like short and whatnot, and so like everybody putting in from out of state, all the non-residents roll into town, they're all staying in hotels and stuff. So these butchers have figured that out, and they just roll in with their cooler trucks and whatnot and set up shop right there and process 300-400 deer in a week. And yeah, they make bank, and everybody's got an easy way to store their meat while they're there for their hunt. So it's pretty sweet setup. So
it is really cool. I didn't know that was a thing. No, that's super cool.
So yeah, no, I knew guys that like when I was working there that specifically would quit working in the oil field to go butcher at game processing places because they could make like $10,000-$15,000 in 2-3 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it pretty lucrative thing if you were in the right know-how or handshaking with people and getting to meet people. You could make a pretty good buck cutting up deer for people in Wyoming.
Seriously.
So
sheesh. Oh, that's cool. So all right, so we'll switch gears a
so
little
yeah,
bit.
We'll get back to I didn't start getting back into hunting until I moved back to Montana after I got done working in Wyoming, and then moved back to Montana. And
was it just like your work schedule opened up, or like why'd you get back?
Yeah, I think I worked nights in the oil field. So like you're a vampire at that point. You just sleep all day long, and the only time you see daylight is sunsets and sunrises, sort of a thing. And it was when I was in northern Alberta, we'd do like fly-in camps. So we were there for 14 days and then out for 7. But then the company I worked for, they'd fly us anywhere we wanted. So you just picked an airport, basically wrote it down on a piece of paper and flew to that location for 7 days and then came back. So it was a definite lifestyle choice that I was not a huge fan of. But some people love it. So it's a bachelor's lifestyle for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna say you can't have a family with that. That's insane.
No, you can barely have a girlfriend. You can't have much social relations other than the people you work with, and then half the people you work with are felons. So it's like, are those the type of people you really want to be hanging around with? And
Right.
it's a rough industry. But yeah, I moved back to Montana, got back into hunting, and haven't stopped since.
So the mounts behind you, are those, I mean, I see a caribou there, but are the rest?
Those two on this side are my grandpa's. The mule deer is actually from Colorado. My dad grew up in Colorado. And my grandpa had a friend that was a Native American on the San Juan Reserve, and yeah, they got that. That deer is actually humongous.
It's a beauty.
61 or something like that.
Oh my
So
goodness. Yeah, he's a beauty.
The mass on it is actually crazy. But then yeah, that caribou is also my grandpa's from northern Alberta as well.
Cool.
There's a place up there. And then that elk is mine. But
Cool. So tell us about Montana hunting then, because it sounds like that's where your experience is with say like elk or deer. I don't know if you know, I guess, what it's like in other states, but like Utah, for example, I mean, there's like, it's a very obvious migration with, say, elk. Like, you won't see elk for a majority of the year, and then summertime you'll see them up in the flats, whatever, and then yeah, come to hunt, they might be down a little lower, or some of them are still up high. I don't know. What are the elk like in Montana?
in our area here, like up in Region 1, they do some very weird things. And I don't know if I've got like weird insight into it because I have hunted and grew up living on both sides of the border here.
Mm.
But I actually like just talked to a biologist. He was here scoring the antelope that I shot this year. And I was asking him all kinds of questions about the elk because I know things about the elk that I'm like, do they know it? Because they're always trying to do freaking studies up here on these elk and collaring these elk and stuff. And the elk migrate massively in the area that we're specifically in. They come all the way. He said they've got one elk, a cow that they collared like 3 years ago, and she migrates from up in Golden, BC, which is like, as the crow flies, almost 300 miles.
Holy cow.
North of us, and she winters in our valley here on the border. So it's like we've got elk that come into our valley late season in the wintering range, all the way basically. If you drew a line across from Banff, across Alberta and BC there, and go 150 miles east and west and come straight down to the border, they're coming all the way from Glacier, North Fork of the Flathead. There's the Wigwam. But yeah, like it actually is pretty cool where we're at. We, on the right year and right snow conditions, we'll see 4,000 or 5,000 head of elk in our valley, just everywhere. And Canada has cool regulations where they have 6-point seasons. So there's some big bulls that roll into the valley here come late season. And yeah, it's pretty cool. So
that's interesting. So is scouting, like, can you even scout, or is it just like they just show up?
So thick. Well, we live in a jungle up here. So like our area of forest, it's like a boreal rainforest or whatever. We're right on the border of Idaho, Washington up here, and it's thick. Like anyone that's hunted Region 1 in Montana will tell you the exact same thing. Like if you can get a 50-yard shot, you're freaking lucky, basically. It's all just lodgepole timber, overgrowth timber, old growth forest. As a result, the black bears are overabundant. We've got about a black bear every square mile in our area here. Black bear hunting's really easy. But no, when you're hunting for elk, unless you are hunting them during the rut or know of a wallow or a meadow that they're summering in, sort of a thing, you're taking your bow or your gun for just a walk in the forest. So you're not hunting for elk in our parts of the world unless, like I said, you've got some pre-informed information. So
interesting. Yeah, no, that's tough for elk. I mean, yeah, because I saw your black bear video, and I've heard that Montana's got a lot of black bears, whatever. I've never been up to experience it, but so because like in Utah, like you don't see a bear ever. Like if you do, it's because you have dogs and you like track this thing down.
Yeah, so like we've got a lot of black bears. Last year when we were hunting in spring, I think we saw like 21 different bears in like 7 or 8 days worth of hunting. And lots of these bears, you're seeing them from 2-3 miles away, just like glassing them up on a ridge line sort of a thing. And like the one meadow that's up there next to a rocky patch or whatever. And they're eating the glacier lilies or the new grass that's growing through.
Hmm.
And then you got to try to close that distance. And like, you can sometimes close that distance. Sometimes you can catch them, they'll lay down or whatever, or it's right near their den. But like most effective way to hunt bears up in our area is to just walk old logging roads, and they'll be feeding, eating the new growth grass and the flowers and stuff on those roads. And those are some of your furthest shooting lanes that we get, are the clear roads as you can see down them for a quarter mile sort of a thing.
Goodness.
So you can actually spot stuff from a minute away and get up closer to it. So
what is is it a draw for bears, or do you just buy
no,
a tag?
it's just over the counter. It's a $26 tag or something like that. You've got to take a little, Montana requires you to have a bear course. So it's like your archery certification sort of a thing. It's just an extra little course that they want you to be able to really tell a black bear from a grizzly bear. So
Gotcha.
They don't want you shooting grizzly bears. So,
yeah, I gotcha. And so is that for just archery, or is that all weapons?
No, all the way, all weapon. So you can hunt in the spring season. I don't hunt archery personally. I grew up and hunted archery and shot archery. And that was another portion that burnt me out when I was younger, is getting within 100 yards of animals and not having them close that distance and stuff. And it was just like some of the biggest animals still to this day, because I was hunting in Canada at that time too, that I saw, I never got to throw an arrow at. It just like that ate at me enough to be like, I'm just going to hang it all up and never do it ever again.
That's good to hear.
I started watching a buddy archery hunt antelope this year, and I think that I will get back into archery hunting just so I can hunt antelope, because it looked really, really fun trying to sneak through all that sage and stuff and get close to an antelope. But no, in spring, I don't think they're archery specific tag, but you can use your bow during that season to hunt bears.
Is this assuming resident or non-resident or both?
Both. Yeah, so like bear tags in Montana are probably the easiest tag for a non-resident to get. They're pretty much an over-the-counter. I don't know that you're putting a draw. You're just paying for the tag. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, it's fun.
So no, that's sweet. I'm gonna have to look into it, because I'd love to go hunt a bear. Tell me about your bear hunt. How did it go?
Oh, that was actually a buddy's bear.
Oh, okay.
I spotted it and he shot it with my gun. So it's like kind of my bear, but no, he had never shot a bear before. Just started bear hunting a couple years ago, and actually missed one 2 years ago. So we all went in as a big mission to get Connor a bear. And yeah, we walked into this drainage, and it was actually a female bear. She was an old dry sow. We watched her for probably 40 minutes, and we're like, yeah, that's a boar. Like the way it's acting and how big it is, like there's no cubs anywhere. Like for sure, that's a boar. And then, yeah, he shot it and get up to it. And it was actually one of the funnier things ever there. Connor is not familiar with like anatomy of like pigs and stuff. And he's caught her grabbed by her privates there. And he's like, oh, is this its wiener? No, that is not. Quit touching that.
Oh my god.
He's like looking it all over. He's like, where's its balls at? I'm like, dude, that's a girl. That is a female bear.
Oh, that's good. He was just so convinced that he had a boar.
Yeah, no, we were super convinced that it was a boar. It was a really nice bear. I don't actually know what it measured out at, but beautiful bear, really thick coat.
What is a big black bear up there?
Anything around 6 foot and bigger is a big black bear. Like I've got one buddy up here that I grew up playing baseball with, and he is like, I don't actually know what Brighton does for work. He's one of those guys. You're just like, the guy
Yeah.
is hunting and fishing so much. It's like, what lifestyle did you choose to
Yeah.
allow you to do these things? But no, I'll talk to him to get like counts on like how many bears he's seen, and he'll see like 200 plus bears in a season. But he's hunting for like the Mac Daddies of Mac Daddies, and I think his biggest is like a 7.9.
Oh, a black bear.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
So that was like close to 500 and some odd pounds.
Whoa.
So, and he got that thing aged out, and it was like a 11 or 12-year-old bear. So the forest is thick and they can live for a long time. So if you put the time into it, you can kill trophy class Boone and Crockett bears up here. So I think 21 inches makes book up here. But yeah,
gosh, so cool.
Big bears, absolute tanks. And
That's
we get
awesome.
we get color phase of like all the different color phases up here. So like we'll have blondes, chocolates, cinnamons. There's like that bluey, not totally black, but it's like almost opaque blue gray color. And then we'll get just pure blacks as well. So it's kind of cool. You're hunting like a variety, and not every bear. You're not always looking for a black dot on the hillside. Sometimes it's a yellow dot. Sometimes you're like, oh, is that an elk? And then you pull up the binos and you're like, oh no, that's a big old blonde bear. And then you're like, oh, is that a grizzly or is that a black bear?
Jeez. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into it. Look into the bears. So what's the grizzly experience like up there? Have you ran into many? Do you see them often?
Yeah. If you go in a couple different locations, there's denning areas. So we get like, our mountains here are all like high alpine basins with like meadow lakes and stuff. And so obviously the bears are up there all summer long, eating all of they're eating all the pine bark and willows and like anything else they can find. We got tons of huckleberries. So most of our bears are just plumb fat on berries. But yeah, so they'll be up there, and then they'll funnel out of mountain ranges in like certain drainages, because that's where all the water comes out, sort of a thing. And you're not going to hit a low enough elevation for them to be comfortable denning until you get to a certain point. And as a result, you'll get like 10, 15 bears all in like a 10-mile area that are all denning in the same location, sort of a thing. And because they're denning, they're not like super territorial, so they're not like fighting each other. They're just trying to find a place to go to sleep at that point. We're talking like the last couple weeks of November.
Oh, okay.
Like if they haven't already picked a denning location somewhere else, this is where you'll find them, sort of a thing. But 2 years ago, I found an incident bear that had been shot in there. It was like an 800-pound grizzly. I've ran into 3 or 4 in that area. I just about stepped on one day, was chasing elk and paying attention to where they were going and not where I was going, sort of a thing, and literally walked up to a den, and bear stuck its head out and was like, hey, how's it going? It's like, yeah, I did everything wrong in that, like fully crap my pads, turned rat, like just like, oh, what is happening? Like, but no, there's areas where the bear density is absolutely ridiculous, and it's like almost not safe to go out there. And then there's areas where you won't see a bear for 50, 60 miles, sort of a thing. It's just where they like being and where their territories are, where their genetic migration routes are, like all of that plays into it. So being close to Glacier Park kind of gives us exposure to more than the average area, so to speak. So
I haven't had any experiences with grizzlies, and it gives me a little bit of a, I don't know if chills are the right word or not, but just hunting in grizzly territory, I'm like, man, that's got to just be another level, a little more intense.
They're just a big puppy dog, but they're mean puppy dogs. So,
just
but
don't
like,
pet these ones.
I've seen them lot. Like if you are watching them from 200-300 yards away and you're aware of where that bear's at and the direction that it's moving and stuff, and it's not winding you, like you can sit there and watch it walk away for 3 miles and that bear will never even know you're there, sort of a thing. But at the same time, if they catch your wind or whatever and you hear some barking, that you're walking through the woods and you're like, what was that noise, sort of a thing.
Like sounds like a dog bark?
Oh, they make all kinds of noises. Like, I'm convinced that any Sasquatch noise that anybody's ever heard has come from some sort of bear. If you've watched any bear hunting videos when they're like in Alberta and they're baiting for those black bears and they come in, those big boars start fighting, they make like alien noises. Like,
Yep.
It's pretty crazy. And they'll do that like because they're threatened or you've crossed into their territory or whatever, and you might hear like a Wookiee sounding thing. Like, I'm not even going to try to mimic the noises that they'll make. But yeah, I'm pretty convinced that that's what everybody thinks is a Sasquatch when they hear Sasquatch. It's like you got too close to a bear and it was doing it's like whoa, 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 or it's like barking and screeching, and they do
Jeez.
all kinds of weird noises. So
Yeah, and then you see them stand up, and they really think it's Sasquatch. So you're probably
yeah,
on
and
to
then you're
something.
just like, oh man, what is that? It's huge. So, and
Good.
thick country. Sasquatches seem to be prevalent in all of the areas of the world where it's really thick forest, where you can't ever actually see stuff.
Yep. So true. So
But-
true. Oh, it's crazy. Well, so tell me a little bit of why I guess you hunt, and then we'll get into your products that you're launching. But tell me why. Why do you hunt? What's your why now? Because you took a break from it. You were burnt out.
yeah,
And so now, like, what's your why when you're out there?
that's a deep.
It is. You can think
No,
on it.
yeah, that's a deep question. So I grew up, I don't even know how to explain this in the best way. I grew up LDS. You're from Utah, so you know what LDS
Yeah, I'm
is.
also LDS.
Okay, yeah. So I grew up LDS,
Okay.
and it was a very black and white upbringing of like right and wrong and this or that sort of a thing. And I grew pretty far away from my Heavenly Father and God as a whole, and experienced a couple different things. I was 24, 25. Not a couple different things. I crashed. I think it was 24. That's when it happened. But I was drinking, shouldn't have been driving, was trying to deliver paychecks to people. Anyways, long story short, totaled the vehicle, took out 18 guardrail posts, was ejected from the truck, thrown like 150 feet from the scene of the crash. I was pulling a fifth wheel trailer with I-beams on it, and the whole load went through the cab and crushed the cab. So like if I wasn't ejected, I would have been like super dead. There was a piece of the guardrail that came up through where like the gas pedals were at and was through the driver's seat, and like a little scared straight moment sort
Dude,
of
that
a
gives
thing.
me chills.
But
Wow.
like I stood up and walked away from that crash, and I had a golf ball sized rock that was kind of stuck in the back of my head from where I had landed after being ejected. I had a 9-month-old puppy in the truck with me, and that was actually she was probably the thing that saved my life when it came down to it, because I unbuckled because she was getting into something that she wasn't supposed to be doing, and if I'd have been wearing my seatbelt, I'd have been stuck in that truck, sort of a thing. But I thoroughly believe that God literally was there that day, and he picked me out of that truck and he set me on the ground and was like, you'll figure it out. So I was given a second chance that day, and I still wasn't going to church and wasn't doing everything that I was supposed to be doing as far as just being a better person every day. But I found my connection with God in the mountains again, and taking my dog for weekend trips and Just I don't think you need a chapel in order to have extremely spiritual and humbling moments in your life. And I think actually a room or a building will actually restrict you to some extent to be able to get the perspective of God's creation and how not necessarily insignificant you are as like just a singular human, but like when you get into the mountains, it gives you perspective as to how big things actually are and how big God is and how big you get into some big country and you feel really, really, really little. And God will make you feel really big in that big country if you're close with him. And that is a feeling that I don't know that you can feel anywhere else. And I kind of got addicted to that. Or I still chase that to this day, and I will have the best conversations I can have with God and our Heavenly Father in the forest when I'm out there. And as a result, he blesses me sometimes with having an animal walk in front of the sites, or he'll give me an experience in the moment to like humble myself and grow closer to him while I'm out there. And I wouldn't trade that for anything in this world.
Dang. That's awesome. No, that is like so cool. What a, I don't know, what a cool experience to have with him, and also to just be able to, I mean, always hunt and remember that. I feel like you probably remember that experience probably every time you're out and about, you know? That's incredible.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's one of those things, like giving that second chance like on life, and like people that have had that or been through that scenario where you were knocking on death's doorstep and you made some changes and pulled your head out of your butt, sort of a thing, and or were blessed enough to have family or people around you that would help you through those things. Not everybody has that. Not everybody is given that grace. Not everybody. And so like when you're given that second chance, it's something I think about daily, multiple times a day. Like it's hard not to, now being like a dad and getting to see like my kids grow up and whatnot. It's like, it's hard not to look at them and think about how they wouldn't be here if I wouldn't have been given that second chance. I wouldn't get to experience every single thing I experience every single day without that second chance. And it's like, it's truly a miracle. And that's the only way to explain it, that I didn't die that day. And it definitely changed me for my whole entire life.
Awesome, man. I mean, you can go further if you want, but I mean, that's awesome. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I know that's probably not, I don't know, the easiest thing to share all the time. So yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. That's really
I
cool.
don't know. I've come to terms with the fact that like, and you might know this from like going to church and whatnot, but like some of the most best lessons are the ones on Fast and Testimony Sunday, when nobody's given an actual topic, but somebody is struggling with something and they stand up there and lay it out all in front of you. And it gives you like such crazy perspective. It's like, holy cow, I'm not the only one that's like thinking this thing, or I'm not the only one that's experiencing this thing. And hey, they figured it out, or they like, I think church as a whole, like I've done some introspect into this, and I even went to a bunch of different other churches, and it's like church religion even as a whole just seems to be like this, it's a camaraderie thing. It's like we're all searching for this bigger family, and either you grow up in a church and that's the way you spend your whole entire life, or you don't necessarily agree with the people that are in the congregation of where you're at, and then you change churches and you go church shopping, and you're like, you find where you're comfortable and where the most amount of people around you bring you closer to God. And so like I have like mixed feelings with like trying to tell other people that go to other religions that maybe what they're doing isn't necessarily the right thing, or the quote unquote the only true one, or like there's, I think if you're striving to be closer to him every single day, you're doing at least half of what you need to be doing. And I think a lot of people need to hear that in and of itself. So we don't live in a society where people are slapping each other on the butts and patting each other on the backs. It's like we're living in a society where people are trying to put sticky notes on your back and kick you while you're down, sort of a thing. And religion can be whatever it needs to be for you, sort of a thing. And that's my views on religion.
No, that's so good. And I wasn't expecting this to be like a gospel conversation, but like I'm totally down for it. I just going along with what you said, it's kind of interesting. My brother-in-law sent me this verse a couple days ago, and he's actually not LDS. So we have some interesting chats.
Those are the best chats.
Yeah, no, it's like super cool. And he sent me this verse. It's in John 5, it's verse 24. It says, "Verily I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believeth on him that sent me hath everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life." And I feel like that's just like what you're saying. It's at the end of the day, if we truly in our hearts like believe in God and we're striving to have those experiences, like I feel like that's what life's all about, whether it's with hunting or anything really. It's like, what's your intentions with it, you know?
Oh yeah, no, it could be Minecraft, it could be anything, it could be drawing, it literally could be anything. And it's like we're supposed to be here to learn and to like grow as humans as a whole. And however your story tells you to do that, then do it. It's like
so true.
If it feels right, it's probably right. Like if it feels wrong, guess what? It's probably wrong.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's like if you fight yourself on that, you'll never be able to put your full effort or your full mind towards whatever it is that God's plan is for you. So
true. No, that's so good. Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. That's like a great little food for thought. I love it. So we can kind of transition, wrap things up a little bit. I don't want to take too much of your time, but tell me about your products that you guys are launching. You got some super cool stuff coming up, and just kind of share with us what you got.
I'll like explain a little bit about like the company here first. So like I do construction. I own an interior finish company, specialize in like remodels, kitchen, bathroom, that sort of a thing. Also, in growing up and being in a very black and white family, I felt like I was like the black sheep or the scapegoat in a lot of scenarios.
Okay.
And then throughout my construction career and kind of trying to act as what I would deem as a Christian, which is like you're only worth your handshake sort of a thing and your word, which not very many people believe anymore. You find that out the hard way. That very thing, it was like being in the finished trades, I run into still to this day a lot of clients that don't like paying their bills when it comes down to that last invoice sort of a thing. And you end up feeling like a scapegoat in those realms. It is like, I think some of them like going through it, they know they're never going to pay that bill right from the get-go. And that's where you become that scapegoat, is because they knew they were going to screw you right from day one, sort of a thing. And then they led you on the whole entire time. You got to act like a decent human being. And then you got to figure out how to pay your bills in the end. And kind of got to a point where I was just really burnt out with that, and had a family, and second kid showed up, and I was like, you know what? I freaking love the outdoors. I watch all these dudes' YouTube videos all the time. I was really through all of that backpacking and stuff, I have some contacts of my own in like the guiding outfitter industry. I've got family that own territories in northern Yukon, and my dad used to be part owner in one just north of Glacier here. But through that, I was like, you know what? I can do this. I can start an outdoor company. I can figure out how to carry a camera around in the forest. I can do all of this stuff. Like, I kind of try to trick my brain into thinking that everyone's only people, and if somebody else can do it, so can I. So
Amen. Amen.
With that being said, editing is freaking hard.
So, that's a skill for sure.
You'll see in some of my videos that I launch over the next year, there's moments when I'm even having the conversation in it. And I'm asking all these other YouTubers out there, how on earth do you not feel like an idiot talking to yourself 16 miles into the forest on some ridge line while you're not even seeing animals? You're just like, okay, time to just la-di-da. Like, yeah. You feel so like, when does that go away? When do you quit feeling dumb?
I don't know. Maybe they just accept that they're a little crazy. Maybe that's the point. They're just talking to themselves out there.
Yeah, no, I don't know. So anyways, Scapegoat Outdoors kind of started from that. The second boy rolled around, and I wanted to create something that eventually would lead to experiences that my boys and I could share together. And growing up, I look back on it, and some of the best experiences I ever had with my dad were in the mountains, sort of a thing, even though they were scary or terrifying or whatever they were. Those were some of the best moments of my life growing up. And if I could give my kids those experiences, or something that would fund those experiences for us to be able to go out and do, that'd be cool. So it kind of started as like, what could I do in the outdoor industry? There's so many products out there, and like through that thinking and everything else, you don't need to create a new product out there. For anybody else thinking that you need to create something that's totally new and you need to redesign the whole industry, you don't. You just need something that works, and it will work anytime anybody needs to use it. And that's kind of where the big product that I'm trying to push really heavily derived from. And it's just a simple fire starter. Comes in a 2-ounce container, kind of like your pyro putties, but it actually lights with a flint versus not the pyro putty. Yeah. It's not some hard wax cotton ball crap that you got to sit there and warm up for half an hour before you actually can get it to work. But that's our main product. I didn't bring any of that over with me. That's what I had to go out of town for. We're trying to get our website and our e-commerce stuff fully dialed in before I launch anything, so that it's as user-friendly as possible for everyone. Nice. And people get sick, and shipments don't show up, and stuff happens. So
life happens.
Yeah, no, that's joys of being an entrepreneur. You kind of get to run on a bunch of different other entrepreneur schedules lots of times. So everybody's always trying to juggle or do this or do that. And it's just, it's been kind of delayed process, but should be 100% launched within the month. And hopefully we'll be able to find us in a couple storefronts across Montana. And yeah. But our other product that I came up with is like, everyone's always looking at people's bucks and being like, oh dude, that's so cool. And every buck is like their own uniqueness to it. Like, I think that's why some people like hunting a lot, is because every animal is different. So I came up with this idea for a simple mounting system for like your Euro mounts, but then I didn't want it to be just as simple as being a cutout of a state or something like that. And so I wanted to offer people the ability to customize them to be like a one of one piece for their home or their deer or whatever. We're going to have like a bunch of different styles that you can kind of choose from. But we're doing like an epoxy layover resin dip on steel plates. So they kind of show up like this. They've got a simple pull tab design that comes out of the center of them. And then you take your Euro mount, see if I can hold it here, and just plop her on there like
Wow,
that.
that was so simple.
Really, really simple. We will sell just the raw steel plates too, if somebody wants to do their own thing with them or just have the raw steel. Those are the Your State buck plates, we're calling those. They'll just be a one of one. You choose your state, you choose your kind of your design, and then we'll hopefully send you a product that you are thrilled with. It adds a art flair into it. It adds a bunch of different things into your man cave when it comes down to it. So, and if you guys have like working in the construction industry, I work with interior designers and all kinds of stuff all the time. So if somebody actually has like a theme in their man cave, or like you want a Green Bay Packers one for your Wisconsin buck or whatever, you'll be able to select those sort of options on your order, sort of a thing. And then we're also coming out with a much simpler designed one too. And it's just going to be for like, if you have already created some sort of system that you like the way it looks, but you would like to be able to move your Euro mount instead of having it screwed to a plaque or whatever, it's just going to be a much smaller 2-inch by 3-inch pull tab style mounting plate for all of your simplistic facets in the Euro mounting game. So, and
Cool.
these plates and those are just going to be the buck plates, and then we have got a thicker model that's going to be the bull plates as well for your moose and elk antlers and caribou and bison or whatever. They're all bulls. So, but the thicker tab they'll be a little bit larger. But the way that those sit on the wall, they're totally concealed behind your skull plate. So like on some of the other ones on the market right now, you end up with this big metal thing mounted to the wall or protruding from the wall. These are pretty seamless as far as flush to the wall, and you don't ever, unless you're looking up underneath it, you don't ever see the mounting bracket there. So
cool. No, those are awesome. I'm stoked for it. When I get my bear dude in Montana, I'm gonna get a Montana plate from you for it, because I think they're sick.
No, that'll be awesome. So I'll have to shoot you over a Utah one just for anything you kill in the next year or so, and
that'd be awesome.
Show her off. So
no, it's such a good idea, because I feel like you see so many different mounting styles. I like that you guys can basically, whatever you're wanting to do with your European mount, it sounds like your product's going to help it out. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, like we'll see where it goes, sort of a thing. I want to have more products, and if we, around the company being Scapegoat Outdoors, if I can design products that you as a consumer can use as your scapegoat in a scenario, whether it be like fire starting scenario, life survival scenario, right down to just like an ease of showing off your trophy, we want to be your scapegoat in those scenarios. So go ahead and use us, please. We don't care. So,
we don't mind. That's so good.
No, go ahead and use us as your scapegoat, and we'll try to continually develop products. And like, I've got a bunch of apparel coming out too that's using a bunch of local artists across different states, depending on the apparel, to showcase their artwork, as well as hopefully have some comfortable and cool styled hats and t-shirts and hoodies and whatnot. So
that's awesome. Well, sweet. Yeah, I'll put your Instagram link up on here too, so people can find you? Is it just going to be on the Scapegoat Outdoors?
Yeah, it's just Scapegoat Outdoors. The website will be scapegoatoutdoors.com. Like I said, it's not launched yet, so if you search that right now, nothing's going to pop up, so don't bother. It will, as soon as it's on our Instagram, it will be live, sort of a thing, as soon as the link is dropped.
Awesome. Cool, man. Yeah, I'll include the links and stuff in the description once you're posted and whatnot, and yeah, spread the word.
No, awesome. Thank you so much for having me on and getting to share some stories. So
I know that was awesome. I appreciate it, Kade.
I got all kinds of questions for you too. So now I don't have to start recording video podcasts to get more information out of you. So
there you go. There you go. I'll be one of your guests, man, any day.
But no, I appreciate being on. So
thanks, Kade. We'll talk to you later, man.
Thank you.